The city outside my apartment was alive that night, but inside, everything slowed down. The rain against the glass, the hum of the streetlights. It all faded when Luke's eyes met mine. He wasn't supposed to stay over. He wasn't supposed to even look at me like that. But as he stood in my bedroom doorway, his shirt unbuttoned halfway, his chest rising and falling with uneven breaths, I knew something was about to break between us. Something we'd both been holding back for far too long. I'd never admit it out loud, but from the first time I met Luke, I wanted him. He was the kind of man you couldn't ignore. Tall, broad-shouldered, his beard framing that devastatingly charming smile. He carried himself with this mix of calm and intensity, like he could ruin you and save you in the same moment. And me? I was younger, quieter, softer around the edges. But somehow with him, I felt like maybe that was exactly what drew him in. That night, the air between us was heavy. I had let him crash at my place after a late evening out with friends. We were both too tired to drive, and he'd laughed it off, saying he'd take the couch. But hours later, when the city had gone quiet and I was lying awake in my bed, I heard the creak of footsteps. And then he was there, hesitant at first, leaning on my doorframe like he wasn't sure what he wanted. "Can't sleep?" I whispered. Luke's voice was low, almost rough. "Not when I know you're lying in here alone." The way he said it made my stomach twist, heat rising in my chest. His words felt heavier than they should have, like a confession wrapped in casual tones. He stepped closer, the dim lamplight catching his eyes, making them look darker, hungrier. I sat up slowly, my heart pounding, every inch of me buzzing with anticipation. I should have looked away. I should have told him to go back to the couch. But I didn't. Instead, I held his gaze, daring him to keep coming closer. And he did. Luke crossed the room in a few strides, his presence swallowing up the space until he was right in front of me. His hand brushed against my cheek, rough and warm, his thumb grazing the corner of my lips like he was testing if this was real. "You know," he murmured, "I've been trying to keep my hands off you for weeks." The words knocked the breath from my lungs. My throat tightened, my pulse quickened, and I whispered back, "Then don't." It was like a dam breaking. Luke leaned down, his lips crashing into mine with a force that sent me reeling. His kiss was desperate, almost reckless, like he'd been starving and finally allowed to eat. I clutched at his shirt, pulling him closer, feeling the hard lines of his chest press against me. The warmth of his body seeped into mine, and suddenly, the world outside ceased to exist. Every move he made screamed of a hunger he couldn't contain. His hands roamed. First my face, then my shoulders, sliding down my sides like he was memorizing every inch of me. He kissed me like he needed it, like he'd been holding back for too long, and now that he had me, he wasn't about to let go. I melted beneath him, every nerve alive with sensation. I loved the way his beard tickled my skin when his lips trailed down my jaw, the way his breath grew heavier against my neck. It was messy, intense, overwhelming, and I wanted more. "Luke," I gasped, my voice trembling, "you're not controlling yourself." He pulled back just enough to look at me, his lips swollen, his eyes dark and burning with desire. "I told you," he whispered hoarsely. "Around you I can't." The honesty in his tone undid me, because the truth was, I didn't want him to control himself. I wanted every bit of him, the passion, the intensity, the unfiltered need. And the way he looked at me, like I was the only person in the universe, made my chest ache in the best way. His lips found mine again, slower this time, more deliberate. The kiss deepened, our bodies tangled together, the sheets twisting beneath us as if they were part of our chaos. His hand slid down my back, pulling me closer, grounding me in the storm he was creating. The night unfolded in waves of passion and tenderness. Luke alternated between rough hunger and gentle care, his touches firm yet reverent, as though he was afraid I'd disappear if he let go. And the entire time, I kept thinking, I'd never felt so wanted, so completely consumed by another person. When his forehead pressed against mine, his breath heavy and uneven, he whispered, "I've wanted this for so long." "Wanted you." My chest tightened with emotion, a lump forming in my throat. I cupped his face, brushing my thumb across his cheek, and whispered back, "You have me, every part of me." The way he kissed me after that, it wasn't just desire, it was love. The hours stretched, the city outside sinking deeper into the night. But inside my room, time didn't exist. We moved between confessions and kisses, between laughter and silence, our bodies and hearts intertwining in ways I'd never thought possible. Luke's hands never stopped roaming, like he was addicted to the feel of me, and I never wanted him to stop. At some point, when exhaustion finally crept in, I found myself lying against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. His arm was draped around me, holding me close, like letting go wasn't an option. And in that moment, I realized something that made my heart swell with both fear and joy. I was falling for him. Hard, but maybe, just maybe, he was falling too. Because when I tilted my head up to look at him, Luke was already watching me. His smile was soft, his eyes filled with something that made my chest ache. He pressed a kiss to my forehead and whispered, "I'm never letting you go." And lying there, wrapped in his arms, I knew I didn't want him to,